Some of you don't need another breakthrough. You need a place to exhale without having to explain yourself. You ever walk into a space and your body relaxes before your mind actually has the opportunity to catch up? Like your shoulders drop and you're like, oh, I guess I have been tight all day. That is what we're talking about today on this podcast episode. We're not talking about perfection. We're not talking about aesthetics, not a brand new personality with matching storage bins. We are talking about the garden as a healing space, a space that helps your nervous system feel safe enough to soften, a space that tells your spirit, your body, and your breath, you can come down now. Welcome to episode 13 of the IOA podcast. This is the IOA podcast, a space for truth, tenderness, and becoming whole, one breath at a time. Hey, resilient ones, welcome back to the IOA podcast. I am Dr. Malaika, and I am your host. And as always, I am super excited to have you with me for episode 13. This is your reminder that healing is not just something you understand. Healing is something you practice. And in this community, we are healing loudly and living softly. So this particular episode is built around the theme of the garden. It is built around something that you can build around yourself on purpose with intention. If you are new here to the show, I'm glad you found your way. And if you've been rocking with me all this time and have been hanging out since the very first episode, I want to tell you welcome back so you know where we are about to go to. Either way, new or returning, I want you to take a breath with me, breathe in and breathe out, because today we are in the garden. So when I say the garden, I am talking about intentional healing environments. It can be a corner in your bedroom. It can be a way that you set up your bathroom at night. It can be the 5 minutes in your car before you walk into your house after your work day. It can be your desk at work. It can be whatever morning routine that you have. A garden is not about being fancy. A garden is about conditions. Some of us keep trying to do healing work in environments that keep reactivating us. Then we blame ourselves for not sticking to the journey. And I want you to listen to me clearly. If your nervous system does not feel safe, it is not going to cooperate. So this is not laziness on your part. This is you protecting yourself, which is important to the journey. Your body is doing what it has learned to do. It is responding to the environments and the experiences that it has had, and it is saving and storing that information. What I want you to understand is that we are not shaming the body today. That is not what we're doing. We're not shaming ourselves today. We are going to learn to support ourselves. And so as we move into this episode, I want you to focus on letting go of the scripts that you have had in your head that have told you you are not doing enough when it comes to your healing journey. Maybe it is you have been trying to, as I said, do it in the wrong spaces. And hopefully, after listening to this episode, you will have more clarity on what you need to do to create the spaces that are conducive for their learning. So come along. We're about to go on a journey. I'm super glad to have you. Let's take a quick break and we're going to get into it. Welcome back to the show. And as always, make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the episode and to the podcast itself. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So remember, like and subscribe, share this with someone that you think would benefit from what we talk about on this show. So pay it forward to someone else if it has done something special for you. So we are going to get into really talking about the nervous system and why the environment that you have in real time actually matters. In real life terms, we don't understand how powerful the environment can be to our growth, our development, and our healing. Many of us have been taught to treat healing as if it is only a mindset shift, meaning if I just change my mind and if I just think positively enough, if I pray hard enough, if I journal long enough, then my body is supposed to magically cooperate. What we don't understand is that the body is not impressed by our motivational speeches. It actually remembers what it has gone through, and it operates off of sensations. It speaks sensations, it speaks patterns. The body speaks safety. So when you've lived through chronic stress, when you've lived through trauma, when you've lived through grief or instability, your body has learned to stay hypervigilant and on alert. Your brain becomes a security guard that basically never clocks out. It's always scanning, it's always listening, it has this tracking tone, it's reading faces. And I want us to normalize this thought process that some of you are overthinking, you are over scanning. That is hypervigilance. It has been an adaptation that you've had to put into place, but that is not what your body desires to have. When your system has learned that if I don't stay ready, I'll get caught off guard, it will immediately stay in that state and it will be like that going forward. So even when your life gets calm, and I think this is the key, your life could be calmer, your body will still behave as if danger is present or could be present at any time. That is why you can be fine, meaning the situations around you are okay. There's not a whole lot of things going on, but you still can feel unsettled in your body. You can be sitting on the couch, nothing can be going on, and for some reason you find that your chest is tight. You could be in a very good relationship, meaning you guys get along well, the person is a safe space, but even in the midst of that, certain tones and inclinations in their voice cause you to flinch. This is why you can be safe and still feel like you are bracing for the inevitable impact and crash that is coming. This is an indication that your nervous system is not updating just because the calendar has changed. The way it updates is through repetition. The same way that you got your body into this state of hypervigilance is the same way that you will get your body out of this state. It's going to update through experience. It updates through the steady, slow, consistent message of we are safe now, over and over and over again. And sometimes, if we're being honest, the reason your body does not believe what you are saying in your mind is because you keep telling it you are safe while you keep putting it in unsafe conditions. And I'm not saying that you're doing it on purpose, because life is life and we do have responsibilities, but it's because some of us, as we're parenting, caregiving, leading, working, we're also in survival mode at the same time. I don't want you to take this as blame. I want you to take this as clarity. Your environment constantly gives your body the information. Your body is asking, what is it that I need in this moment? Is this environment loud or harsh, or is this environment steady and soft? And because of that, what do I need to do in those particular conditions? Your body is asking, is this clutter telling me that I am behind, Or is this space telling me that I have the space to breathe? Do I have privacy? Is this an aggressive setting? Do I have the ability to rest? Is there a place for me to sit, to just be, and to land? What I want you to notice about these questions is that these are not extra questions. Oftentimes, when we are speaking and questioning ourselves in this way, we feel like we're being extra or doing too much. These are questions of survival because we have been conditioned to need to be in survival mode. That's your body trying to figure out, do I have the ability and the space to relax? So let me make it plain for you if it has not been clear so far. If you grew up in chaos, your body will confuse chaos as being normal. So when you finally get to quiet, it feels unfamiliar. It feels suspicious. It feels like, why is it so quiet in here? And your body will start looking for a problem to have. So one of my hopes as we end this segment and we go further into this episode is that you will learn that it is okay for you to not have to be on. It is okay for things to be peaceful. But the key will be, how do I create the environment for my body to know that it is okay? Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we will dig a little bit deeper into establishing our gardens. Be back in just a second. Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. And now that we are back and we better understand why space matters, I want to give you a framework that I use personally and professionally that I think will be helpful for you. It is called the 3 gardens. And so I like the metaphor because a garden is not something that you can force. And so many of you have heard how I am when it comes to anything that is green and what happens if you give me something to grow, right? But although I may not be good at gardening in actual gardening in real life, I am with using this metaphor for how we put things together. When it comes to a garden, you don't force it. You don't stand over the soil and basically tell it needs to grow. You create the conditions, you tend to it, protect it, and pay attention. And what we have been trying to do when it comes to healing, some of us have been trying to heal like it was a performance. Like, if we get this right enough, we'll finally be safe. But healing is not a performance. Healing is actually a practice. So there's 3 gardens that I want you to start to establish or understand that are established in your life: your body, the home, and the community. The body, the home, and the community. So let's talk about garden number 1, the body. Your first healing space is your body. It's not your job. It's not your relationships. It's not your to-do list. It is your body. And because you have a beautiful home and a supportive community, you can still feel like you are drowning if your body is depleted. If your nervous system is exhausted, everything is going to feel louder. Everything is going to feel heavier. So when I'm saying to you to tend to your body, I am talking about the basics, but I'm also talking about things that are even much deeper. The basics are first, right? Have you had water today? Are you hydrated? Have you eaten something that actually nourishes you, not just grabbing something while you're running? Have you had a moment where your jaw is unclenched and there's no tension? Have you been breathing shallow all day? And listen, I'm not asking these questions to make you feel shame. I'm asking because a lot of times we are trying to do emotional work in a body that is sending us emergency signals that we are ignoring. If you're hungry, if you're tired, if you're dehydrated, overstimulated, your brain is not going to interpret the world as being safe. It is going to interpret the world as urgent. And so you need to let go and go down into a deeper layer of what is happening within you. So your body also serves as this boundary system. If you do not have the capacity to notice your body, it is hard to notice when something is off. And so I really want this to be a key that you hone in on, is that a huge part of this is you better understanding the signals that your body is sending you. When you don't know your body, it's hard to understand what is going on. So we have a tendency when we don't know our body to miss the early signs. Your body has this capacity that it can reach. And once it hits that, it's going to give you signals. So it may be a tightening in your chest when someone crosses the line with you. You may miss the sign of fatigue. There's basically saying that you can't keep up at the pace that you're at. So tending to your body is not just self-care, it's also self-protection. And I want you to say this because a lot of us grew up spiritualizing neglect. We call it sacrifice. We call it strength. We call it service. But actually, what we have been doing and have trained ourselves to do is to be neglectful. Your body eventually collects the debt. And what is going to happen is you need to make sure that you are tending to this first garden, your body, properly. So the question for the first garden is, what does my body need in order for it to feel safe enough to soften? Sometimes it's sleep. Sometimes you need protein and water. Sometimes you need movement. Sometimes you need therapy. There may be a need for medication. Sometimes the answer may be boundaries need to be established or have fewer explanations for your choices. Also, if you are someone who has been living in survival mode, your nervous system may not know what to do with the softness at first. So start small. Start with 2 minutes of deep breathing, a stretch before you get out of bed, sitting down to eat instead of eating over the sink or eating on the run. This is basically telling your body, yes, I see you, I'm listening, and I'm giving you what you need. That is tending to that garden. Garden number 2 is your home. And I want you to understand that your home does not need to be a perfect space in order for it to be a healing space. So a healing home is not one that is spotless. A healing home is where your nervous system has the ability to come down. So when we talk about building a healing space, we are not starting with redecorate your house. We're not starting with choose a corner, because healing is about access, not about pressure. So think about your home in terms of the cues that it sends to your body. Your environment is always cueing you. It could be the lighting. The overhead lighting can keep you feeling like it's an interrogation lamp, like you're always on. So maybe you need to switch it up. Softer bulbs, strings of lights, candles, right? Use daylight until the sun sets. Think about the sounds in your environment. Silence can be very soothing, but for some of us, silence is scary. So maybe you need a steady sound that will be calming and healing. It could be a playlist. It could be a fan for the white noise, rain sounds. It could be a sermon. It could be a familiar podcast, something predictable that is helpful. Texture is also important in the home. Your nervous system loves texture, soft blankets, cozy socks, robes, pillows, things of that nature. Find something with a texture that is comforting. Think about scents. What you smell is something that's also stored in your memory. So scent is memory, but it's also regulation. Certain scents and smells can cause you to regulate emotionally. So think of oils, incense, candles, lotions, teas, anything that can tell your body we are no longer on, we are shifting gears, we are relaxing. And then implement order, order that supports, not perfection, order that supports. A basket where your journal lives, that's that space where it always is. A charger station so that you're not hunting around for cables when you need to charge something. A tray for your keys. I like to put my keys on the hook that's by the door. Everyone's keys are always right there so that we always know where the keys are. You can't be regulated if you're constantly frustrated by your own space. So realize what are the daily irritations you have and let's try to find ways to get rid of them because those daily irritations actually add up. Another thing that I think is important is your home needs to be or have at least one place that belongs to you emotionally. So even if you share it with family, if you have roommates, there needs to be a small space. It could be a chair, a place where you're not on call, a place where you're not performing, a place where you can just be. And all of these things need to be put in place for something for just you. If you've never had that before, it may feel uncomfortable at first, but that does not mean that it's wrong. All right. So here is the second garden question that I want you to ask. What changes to my space would reduce friction for my healing? Not how do I fix everything, just what is going to make it easier. And then our last garden, garden number 3, is the community. This is the one that is tender because people are where we have the risk of being hurt and have been hurt. And people are also where we get healed. So remember, one of the foundations of this podcast is that we are healing loudly and living softly, but we're also doing it as a collective in community. So some of us are out here trying to heal in isolation because we do not trust anyone. Again, no judgment here. For a lot of us, the isolation has been the safest option that we have been able to put into place. But in the long term, healing needs a witness. It needs reflection. It needs safe connection. This is the reason why I created the circle, that event. This is where it comes into play. The right people become the right kind of garden that you need. They're not going to rush you. They're not going to punish you for being human. They're not going to make you earn their care. They are not going to make you explain your boundaries like a dissertation. They will respect your no. They want to hear you say no. They want you to implement the boundaries. And a safe community is not going to be a community that's perfect. They will disappoint you. But a safe community is one where repair is possible, where accountability exists, where you can tell the truth without being exiled. Now we have to name the other side, right? Some spaces are not gardens. Some of them are wildfires. If their conversations leave you drained, if they leave you anxious, if they leave you second guessing yourself, feeling small, that's not intimacy. That is dysregulation. If you have to brace yourself before you answer the phone, that's information you need to pay attention to. If you feel relief when someone cancels plans with you, that is information to pay attention to. Your nervous system is not being dramatic, it is being honest. So the question for your third garden is, who feels safe enough for me to soften around? Not who you love, not who you feel loyal to, who feels safe enough for your body to relax. And if the answer is nobody right now, I want you to know that that's not a life sentence. This is just a starting point. That person or those people are going to come into your life because you can build community on purpose, one safe relationship at a time. So those are the 3 gardens, the body, the home, and the community. And now that you have this framework, I want you to take these practical steps to start building your garden without overwhelming yourself in the future. Let's take a break and we will be back in just a second. And welcome back. Let's go into talking about building your garden. I want to give you 5 steps that I think will not overwhelm you, and I want to make them very practical. Step number 1 is name the purpose. Ask yourself, what do I want this space to help me do? Do I want to be helped with rest? Does I want it to make it a space to pray? Do I want to journal? Do I want to be able to cry safely? Do I want to be able to stretch? Do I want to just sip my tea and regulate? Do I want to just read? Do I want to just breathe? Your purpose becomes the design for that space. Step number 2, Reduce the threat cues. Threat cues can be harsh lighting, they can be loud sounds, it can be clutter that signals pressure to you. It could even be a particular spot that reminds you of a hard season of your life. Pick one of these things. Doesn't have to be all at once. Pick one thing. Turn off the overhead light, use a lamp. Clear one surface, not the whole house. Put steady sound on in the background. Put your phone in another room for a temporary period of time. But pick one thing that is actually easy to do. Step number 3, add one grounding cue. So a grounding cue is something that your body associates with safety. It could be a scent, it can be a texture, it could be a warm drink, it can be a familiar song, it can be a scripture or a prayer that steadies you. It can be a small object that reminds you, I am held. One cue, not 12, just one. We are not turning healing into a shopping cart. We are building a consistent signal. Step number 4, make it frictionless. So create your grab and go calm kit, right? What are the things that you can put together that you can grab quickly? It can be a small basket. In this basket, it can have a journal and a pen. It can have tea bags of your favorite tea. It can be lotion or oil. It could be a set of headphones. It can be a grounding card or affirmation cards. It could be tissue because you want to give your nervous systems the options that it likes to have. All right. And then this last step, number 5, is protect it with a boundary. So because a garden without a fence can often get trampled and run wild, not because people are villains, but because people are people, you want to make sure that you're using language that protects your peace. Something like, I'm taking 10 minutes, I'll be back. This is my wind down time. I'm not available for heavy conversations after 9 p.m. I'll respond tomorrow. And if you need permission, here's the permission. You do not need to earn rest. You do not have to perform calm. You are allowed to build softness with purpose and on purpose. I want us to take another break, and then we are going to come back and we are going to do our Aya pause for this episode. We will be back in just a second. Welcome back to the episode. We are going to go into our Aya pause, and I want us to do this together. If you can, I want you to put one hand on your chest and one on your belly. If that does not feel good, place your hands wherever it feels safe. Remember, you are in charge here. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it gently. Exhale slowly, like you're cooling soup. You don't want to waste a good exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale through your nose. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. Let's do it one more time. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. Now, I want you to imagine a small garden space. It doesn't need to be big. It needs to be just enough for you. What does it sound like to you? What does it smell like? What does your body do when you picture yourself in this space? Ask yourself, what is one condition I can create this week that makes it easier for me to heal? I want you to sit with that. Inhale in this space. Exhale in this space. Inhale in this space. Exhale in this space. And when you are ready, Blink your eyes open if your eyes were closed. Lift your gaze if your gaze was softened. And welcome back. We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do some reflection prompts and close out the show. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to the episode. We are going to go into some reflection prompts and gentle homework that you can take away with you, as well as our closing and our call to action for this episode. So I want to leave you with a few journaling or reflection prompts. You can either journal them, you can do a voice note, you can pray over this and ponder it in prayer, or you can just sit with them in silence. Here's the first reflection. What spaces have I survived in that never allowed me to rest? What spaces have I survived in that never allowed me to rest? Here's the next one. What does my body need in order to feel safe enough to soften? What does my body need in order to feel safe enough to soften? Number 3. What is one small change that reduces friction for my healing practice? What is one small change that will reduce friction for my healing practice? Number 4, who or what feels like a garden to me? Who or what feels like a garden to me? And then this last reflection prompt is, where do I need a fence so my peace is not constantly being stepped on? Where do I need a fence so that my peace is not constantly being stepped on? That's your homework. Pick a corner, pick a surface, pick a ritual, pick a time, pick a space, and a method of how you're going to reflect on this. And then make one change that signals safety. That's enough, and that is the work. So before I send us off, as always, I want to make sure that we are doing our call to action. And one of the biggest calls to actions is to make sure that you like this episode and subscribe to the IOA podcast wherever you are listening. So if you're viewing this on YouTube, like and subscribe, click the bell in order for you to get alerted whenever we have new episodes coming back. And if you're on any of the other platforms, if you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can also like the show there. That gives you notifications when new episodes drop every Tuesday. And I also want you to know that if this episode supported you, continue to share it with somebody who is trying to build softness in a hard season of their life. Text it to them, post it online, send it to them in a text, whatever you need to do, but use this to pay it forward to someone else. And if you want to speak back to the show, if you want to talk to me, you can leave me a voicemail using what we have now, which is called SpeakPipe. And so this is a way for you to let me know how the show is impacting you, how it has been helping you, and all the different things that you are benefiting from. You can share that with me. And you never know, you may get an opportunity to hear yourself on the episode. There are also other places that you can get materials connected and resources connected to the episodes. Connect with me on Substack, because that is where I send out messages that not only parallel what we're talking about each week, but gives you additional resources and continues the conversation. So remember, as we exit this episode, that we're healing loudly, we're living softly, and until next time, please take care.